Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and we are going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 3, okay? Now, let me give you guys a couple of disclaimers. Number one, it was a Sunday fun day. I was celebrating a friend's birthday, so I done had a little bit to drink. Two, I'm a little bit hoarse, so I got this Altoid in my mouth. So if you see it popping around on the inside of my mouth, just know that's what it is. Because I've been yelling and screaming all day, partying it up. And I need something to make sure that my throat don't get dry, okay? Because I got a lot to talk about. Now, chime down in the chatterization if you saw this episode, and then chime down in the chatterization with your rating for this episode and where you're watching from. Because you know we're a little bit nosy on this channel, okay? So for me, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the raterization. And I'm going to give it an 8. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to give it an 8 right off the bat. You know what? I am so over the your husband is allegedly gay storyline. Or your husband, there is a rumor that he is gay storyline. I am so over this trope, and it feels very lazy for this show at this point in time in season 14 in the year of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ of 2022. Is this still a thing that we're talking about, that we're discussing? Number one, who the heck cares? See, I always feel like they try to use this as some insult, as if this is the woman's greatest misgiving about her husband potentially being gay and liking other men. Number one, it ain't none of nobody else's business what that man likes in the bedroom. It ain't your man. If you got a man, why are you even talking about it? You should just be worried about your man. Okay? Second of all, best believe, okay? Now, best believe, if the man is gay, it's going to eventually come out. Especially if the woman has herself a good gay male friend. Now, if this is true, okay, and it's not alleged, then I will actually come back and I will redo this video and raise my rating, okay? But unfortunately, we have seen this storyline play out time and time again on so many shows that I would need to see the actual video proof in order for me to really believe it, because otherwise it is speculation and conjecture, okay? Now, I'm not calling nobody a liar. I'm just saying that this storyline to me is so old and played out that I'm just not really that interested in it, to be quite honest with you. And I feel like we're meant to be interested in it, and it just don't interest me. So I took away a 1.5 points for that, to be honest with you. Lazy, okay? But let's get into the episode, because I got a lot to talk about. So the episode is called The Tea is Served. It's going to be based around Kenya's tea party for baby Brooklyn, who is turning 3. Now, I always feel like these parties are really meant for the adults, okay? Because the budget for this party is about between $10,000 to $15,000. And to be honest with you, a baby at 3, and I feel like this about, I don't care how much money you make, the baby at 3 ain't going to remember most of this. Honestly, they just want to play. That's it. This is more or less for the spectacle and for the adults, all right? Now, Kenya right off the bat tells the, event planner, well, listen, my baby daddy, I mean, we still going through some things, and I don't really know, how much he's going to be contributing to this, i.e., girl, make this on the $10,000 end and less on the $15,000 end. Because that's what I was hearing when she was saying it. So I was like, okay, I see you, girl. I'm not mad at it. Listen, I know that we watch these shows, and I definitely want fabulosity. If you can spend $80,000 on it, Absolutely. Go ahead, because I want to see that type of spectacle and carryings on. But if you don't have it like that, then I would suggest that you not try to spend it like that. Okay? So I would prefer to see that level of honesty where she is saying, girl, give me on the, we better go on the low end. Actually make this thing $2,000 if you can. How can we squeeze 2,000? I mean, what can we squeeze in for $2,000? Okay? Because to be quite honest with you, let's save that for something more, you know, a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like a what you call it when they turn 16, like a quinceanera or something like that, something big. You know what I mean? But I digress. We learned that Kenya has physical custody. Mark is paying child support. He can see her anytime he wants, just in Atlanta. And she was hoping, again, that the budget would be more around $10,000. Now, she says that she don't know what the holdup is with regards to this divorce settlement. But what we had learned from what we had seen on the news was allegedly that she was the holdup in this situation because she was waiting for the courts to seal the financials so that the people won't know what she's getting paid and what she's making. And I think that was a smart play, to be quite honest with you. But I just was wondering why she's saying on the show she don't know what the holdup is. When I'm like, girl, you know what the holdup is. And I would have rather she just been honest about it and said, listen, I'm waiting for the courts to seal the records so that my financial information and information that's close to my heart is not put out there for public fodder, for scrutiny, and for the people to be talking about. And so once that happens, this divorce should hopefully be final. Now, what we also know is that he wants a cut of that house, allegedly. So that's a whole different matter that we should also be looking at when we talk about this on the show. And I hope that's covered at some point in time. Meanwhile, SHEREE is working out with her trainer, and Marlo is going to join her. Marlo really didn't come to work out. Marlo came to look cute. They recap all the girls hating on Lake Archive. Marlo really wants to work with Tyler Perry in the studios and whatnot, and I think is a perfect business model for her because Marlo is known for her fashions. Marlo wants to know what it's like raising a young man. SHEREE thinks that she's doing a good job. And we learned that one of Marlo's nephews is taking acting lessons, and she's trying to take some acting lessons too because, you know, like Drew and Kenya, she just don't brag about it. And, you know, she too is an actress. You know, just check her IBDM. And the producer's like, what? Check her IBDM. What? The producer's like, D. She said, I said that. IBDM. And I was like, okay, girl. So they finally got to educate her. Is IMDb. And for those of you guys who don't know what that means, it stands for Internet Movie Database, okay? Marlo, if you want to do the acting things, I'm going to need you to know exactly what that is. But I will tell you what this scene gave me that I loved. Marlo is not afraid to she don't take herself that seriously. And to me, Marlo, maybe even more than any of the other housewives except for SHEREE, really gives me what vintage housewives is really all about in her confessionals. She is funny. She is, again, she doesn't take herself too seriously. She delivers shade with a laugh and a smile. She brings the fabulosity. And I honestly feel like SHEREE, Kenya, Marlo, and Kandi need 2 or 3 more power players to really be on the level with them, because I just don't know that Drew and Sonya are it at this point. That's just my thoughts right now. This could all change. But for right now, they have a level of sophistication with how they read. And a read isn't always something that, and Marlo says she can't read, but she can. when she's not trying to, okay? I'm going to give you a perfect example in a minute. Well, Marlo says, well, guess what Kandi told me? That you and Drew have the same assistant. We get the flashback. And apparently, SHEREE does not pay the man. Now, SHEREE says that he barely did any work for her. And Kenya told her that too. And now she's wondering why Kandi didn't come to her with that information. Marlo says, well, the streets say SHEREE don't pay her bills. But good thing I ain't never lent her no money because I'll be getting my money back. And it was the way she delivered that line to me that was just so hilarious, and she's laughing about it herself. That's what I mean. That's the shade level that I'm looking for with this show, that I'm looking for on any housewife show, especially because I've been a fan since the beginning. And I know that we are in a different era of housewives, but I still feel like there's a nostalgia factor that I feel like she's bringing to me, that I'm actually enjoying her along with SHEREE, okay? So Marlo also wonders why Kandi didn't come to SHEREE about this whole situation. SHEREE is curious because she knows that Kandi don't like when the streets talk about her, but she thinks it's okay to spread lies about other people. SHEREE is not here for Kandi in this moment, and we get a flashback of Portia confronting Kandi about the dungeon stuff, and then the dungeon stuff coming up at that same reunion. So I thought that was like, ooh, okay now. They also, why Drew didn't tell her about it, but per episode 1, Drew did try to tell her about it at that point, but was interrupted by Marlo's extravaganza, okay? Also, Anthony has apparently told SHEREE plenty of things about Drew, her household, and her husband, okay? They recap what Kenya said about Les Archives and how she would have done a French theme. Marlo shades her text invite to Brooklyn's baby party, and SHEREE reveals that she told her also about the white refrigerator as well. So not too much else going on there. All right, so Kandi is on the Skype Zoom with her agent, okay? His name is Nick Roses. And they discuss the play and gift boxes going out to the influencers and inviting the girls to New York. So this will be the first sort of mini cast trip of the season. She's also gotten booked for a part as a same gender loving woman who is set to have some intimate scenes with another woman. And Kandi is like, I'm all here for it, okay? She wants an EGOT, which is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. And she's stressed and complaining about her schedule. And the agent is like, well, listen, if you want all of these things, girl, you're going to have to get to work, okay? And I agree. I mean, it is what it is. If this is the life that you want, you're going to have to put in the work to get it, okay? So then Nick asks how Todd feels about Kandi having, an intimate scene with a woman, and he's cool with it as long as not another man. But he's like, she's so busy that, he's just not satisfied with the 2 to 3 weeks, with the 2 to 3 times per week that they getting it on in the bedroom. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Relationships and marriages are a lot of work. And when I say they are a lot of work, I really mean that there is the business of marriage. There's obviously love, but there's also the business of marriage, meaning there is work to be done. There's things to agree on. There are household items and things to attend to, vacations to plan, other business enterprises that you may be working on together. And ultimately, your relationship is not solely based on sex. And there is definitely different levels to the intimacy that you can have in a relationship that doesn't always include, just simply getting it on. And to me, 2 to 3 times a week, especially for someone at Kandi and Todd's level, it actually ain't that bad to me. But, again, I'm not in a relationship, so I don't know what agreements they had. And I don't know whether or not she was initially promising to be doing this thing every night. But at the end of the day, Real life happens, and this is real talk. And people are tired from when they get done with work, and they are sleepy. And sometimes you just need to sleep. And so, as a married couple, you cannot always expect to have the same level of sexual energy as you might have had in the beginning, because now you guys are knee deep in the business of marriage, which also doesn't always include just these little sexual interludes. It I mean, I never, listen, when I hear people talk on reality TV about, especially a couple, when I hear them say that they doing it 5 and 17 times a day, I don't ever believe that. I never believe that. I always think to myself, you lying, because otherwise you unemployed, because you ain't got that much time in a day, okay? And I might be making a judgment, a generalization, and I'm okay with it because I feel like at least I'm being real. But that's just me. Meanwhile, as they are having this conversation, the agent is still on the phone, okay? Then Todd admits that he's growing, he's starting to feel like he's being left out of things. And she counters that there's a project that he's working on and developing, and he cut her out of the project as an executive producer just to leave her as talent. So she's shocked that he's cutting her out, but then she says that sometimes Todd feels resentful of her because she has the bigger name. And again, yes, the agent is still on the line. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, and Todd wants the agent's opinion, and the agent's like, I'm not really getting in the middle of all this. And he gives a little, you know, neutral answer. But I'm thinking to myself, well, Todd, at the end of the day, Kandi is a name. She's on a show, a very successful show, at least for the past, decade or so. She was in a very successful girl group. She has done very well writing for other artists, and she does have a name. Learn to lead with that name, and then get yourself the projects that you want to work on. See, to me, there's a point in life where you have got to remember that it is in the work that you do, not the recognition that you are receiving, that is most important. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I am very satisfied with the work that I do on YouTube. I am not looking at any point in time, and I had to work myself to this point in life in general, just having done so many different things in my life, where I'm not working to be recognized by anyone. I am working because I love what I do. I love my community, and that's all I know. Any other blessings that come as a result of that is icing on the cake. But this is what I love, and that's what I want. But I remain open to any other possibilities, right? And so I feel like Todd needs to do the same thing. Focus more on the work, less on the recognition of, oh, this is Kandi's name. And that I could be wrong about how he's feeling. But based on what Kandi is saying, that's the impression that I'm getting. And I'm like, bro, you got this all wrong. You focusing on the wrong things. But that's just my opinion. Drew and her assistant go shopping for Brooklyn's baby party or whatever. She's happy to be in a better place with Kenya, but she tells him that SHEREE was a bit chilly towards her at the late archive event. Anthony says, well, that is his good girlfriend, but he had to cut business ties with her because she don't like to pay. Apparently, he had connected her with some type of vendor friend, but the business didn't go through because she didn't want to pay the $25,000. And Drew comments that she's heard that SHEREE likes to make bargains, and it's been like that for years, that she hasn't paid her bills. Production shows all these flashes of her not paying her bills, allegedly. Sonya then calls her on FaceTime. She's been sideswiped by a tractor trailer truck, and she got to go pick up her kids. So Drew got to go get her and take her off to go pick up her kids. The day of the party, Kenya is getting herself glammed up, and we see a scene with SHEREE on the phone with Tyrone. I'm assuming that was Tyrone. Please tell me if I missed it and it really wasn't Tyrone, because it looked like Tyrone to me. And again, I was sitting there wondering to myself, how in the world are you on FaceTime with this man and he is in the halfway house? Is it a halfway house or house arrest? I really don't know what it is. Halfway house. I'm going to call it a halfway house. If I'm wrong, y'all will let me know in the chatterization, because I know y'all likes to correct me when I'm wrong, okay? And I'm here for it, okay? I'm here for it. Correct me, tell me, give me the feedback. But anyway, I'm thinking to myself, how does a halfway house work? I gotta really look into this. I gotta read a book on it, because I don't understand it. And then remember all the TMZ, or not the TMZ, Lord, let me not say that. Remember all the alleged news articles that were out there about him not wanting to be filmed or shown on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, that was also allegedly one of the reasons why he is going to be standing her up or blocking her at some point. I really don't know, but we see her on the phone with him, and, she's asking him if he can come to New York. And I'm like, now, wait a second. If you are in this place and how are you able to travel to New York and you're in this house in Philadelphia or wherever it is? Somebody please riddle me how this is supposed to work. Or are we supposed to be believing this and this is not really real? And if it's not really real, I don't want to see it. Bottom line. We learned that Sonya's husband owns a chauffeur service in Austin, Texas. Okay. Great. They set up for the tea party. It's beautiful. The people are arriving all late, and, when SHEREE arrives, she's like, is Drew coming? And Kenya's like, don't mention your drama with her here. But SHEREE is ready for her. So Sonia Moneta, who is a friend of Candy's, and Drew arrives in a similar dress to the one that Kenya wore in the scene with Portia when they were having, it was some other party for baby Brooklyn. And Kenya's like, girl, are you stalking me on my Instagram and finding out what I'm wearing and wearing the same things? It's kind of creepy. Anyway, Drew and Sonya catch up, and they're still, Drew is still having issues with Ralph. They still going through it, and it just honestly is more terrible behavior to me on his behalf towards her. And I just kind of feel like, girl, this may not be the man for you. And I hate to say that, but I'm just like, I know she probably think he look good, and he may even just be putting it down in the bedroom, and that's why she can't leave him. I really don't know. But girl, you can find somebody else that can do all of those things for you and treat you a whole lot better. Because I really don't think that at where he's at right now in life, I personally don't think that maybe he is ready for marriage, or at least maybe not marriage with her. And I hate to be that blunt, but honestly, it has been a long day, and I don't have time to be politically correct today, and I'm going to give you exactly what I'm feeling. So anyway, Candy arrives late, and we learned that it was her assistant's fault, and Kenya is annoyed. And I'm thinking to myself, all these assistants, and can't none of them get nothing right. What is going on here? I mean, at least that's just the way it's coming across. You got SHEREE and you got Drew's assistant telling each other their business, allegedly. Then you got Candy's assistant getting her schedule wrong. You got Drew with about 15 assistants. Why are there so many assistants playing into so much of the drama on this show? You might as well have had all 5 of the friends that we had from last season. Because if you're going to not rely on the actual peach holders to do the actual heavy lifting, then to me, scrap the show and start all over again, okay? Or add 3 more peaches. Give me 8 peaches. Give me 8 peaches and see who comes out on top. I would rather you guys do that, okay? We learned that they're going to play a shady game. They start with a game that's based on baby Brooklyn. Then it's a fun tea game, okay? And it's never a fun tea game because there's always going to be some questions in there that are going to be messy, and each person is supposed to write something in there. It's really about somebody else, and it's supposed to be fun shade, and everybody knows it's not going to be fun. Moneta goes, then Candy gets a question or a comment that basically says that she sucks the D in the locker room. I'm like, A, what locker room? B, was this in high school? And Kenya's like, or C, was it how long ago was this? When was this D allegedly getting licked on? And Candy just wants to know who said it, but nobody is copping to it. And ultimately, Kenya's like, girl, well, listen, I don't have time to continue to try to find this out and play Inspector Gadget with you because you was late, okay? So we're going to move on to the next question. The next thing is, Oh, but the funniest part about this situation is Sheree in her confessional saying, I don't understand why Candy's so upset about somebody saying that she sucked D in the locker room. She didn't suck D every place else. I was like, now that is the Sheree that I needed y'all to bring back. Because that other Sheree from 2 seasons ago, she wasn't really there. But this Sheree is here to play. And I'm here for it. Because this Sheree is like season 1, 2, and 3 Sheree. And that's what we need on this franchise. Okay? Anyway, Kenya goes next. And it's basically a comment that somebody couldn't order from the late archive website because there was no content on the website. Marlo has to give an explanation about how you got an email and all this kind of stuff like that. Kenya and her addressed the Lisa Ray Range Rover thing. Marlo says that was what the streets say. Kenya says you bought a used Rolls Royce. To me, these types of arguments are very silly and very petty, and I'm over it, to be quite honest with you. When I look at the drama that I'm looking at on Beverly Hills and I'm looking at the drama that I'm seeing on Jersey, when I think about the fact that you guys are arguing about a rented or a used Rolls Royce, it doesn't really matter to me because I don't care, because this is an issue that I don't even, it's silly to me. It's really, really silly. It's really kind of juvenile at this point, and I'm just kind of like, why are we still talking about these types of things? I want us to be arguing about Nene not being able to get into Sheree's party and she knows that she should be on the list. That's what I want to see. I want to see that type of drama. But this whole situation with Marlo and Kenya going back and forth, it is played out unless you're going to be arguing about something new. Okay? So then the next card is someone that doesn't pay their assistant. So Drew says, well, I was trying to tell you that about this whole situation, Sheree, during episode 1, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. And she basically spills that Anthony says that she doesn't pay. Sheree is like, well, why didn't you tell me? You told Candy and Candy told the world. Candy says that she was, in her confessional, she says that she was trying to give Drew a chance to tell Sheree herself. And I'm like, well, Candy, it don't really quite work that way. If you telling Marlo and if you telling Candy, you should be telling Drew to tell Sheree, not going and telling this person and that person. So I do feel like Sheree has a right to have a conversation with Candy and to be a little bit annoyed with Candy that Candy is telling everybody else and not coming to her. Okay? Meanwhile, Sheree says that Anthony never worked for her. Drew says that she has emails and receipts that he did work for her. And Sheree's basically telling her to shut the F up and let her talk. And she's getting turned up because, Drew is coming for her finances. So then we get into why Drew needs 3 assistants, which I still really don't understand. And someone asked, I'm assuming it's Sheree's friend. I think her name might be Fatum, but I'm not really sure. Please correct me in the comments. But the woman asked, is this the assistant who said Drew's husband is gay? And I guess, and I wrote in my notes, I guess this is Sheree's friends who we have not been properly introduced to. Production, I'm blaming that on you. And apparently the lady says that Anthony was allegedly harassing Sheree to try to be her assistant. Now, Sheree is saying he wasn't harassing her. He was just trying to come around. But Sheree didn't want to hire him because he said that Drew's husband was gay. So Sheree is trying to calm it down, but Drew is not having it. And she is going off on this girl. And the white lady in the background, I'm sorry. Let me again preface my bluntness right now with the fact that I just don't have the energy to be politically correct. But the white lady that Kenya has invited is not appreciative of all of this nasty D in the locker room / cursing that Drew and Sheree are doing towards each other. And she is upset, and she is so fragile at the fact that these ladies are, doing this cursing and all kinds of things. And I'm like, first of all, woman, why are you here? Have you not seen this show? Do you not know what Housewives is about? Do you not know that when an all-cast scene happens, that it's going to be some drama that breaks up? If you don't get your kid and get up out of there and stop crying about this, like you are you are taking up time in the scene, and we only get 42 minutes in an episode, okay? So why don't you just leave? Actually, I don't know why Kenya ran over there catering to this woman. I'm like, let her go. Bye. Get out of here. Anyway, Sheree goes in about how she thought Drew was cool, but then realizes that she's just a dizzy bee. And then they get into the going back and forth, calling each other a bitch. Kenya basically tells Drew that she owes the new lady an apology. And I'm going to say new lady because I still don't know her name. Because she was trying to warn her about the assistant. And Drew is still not okay with it because all she heard was my husband, somebody saying her husband is gay. Candy says that she should take the issue with the assistant. And Drew says, well, okay, he's on probation. And Candy's like, what? Probation? This man is allegedly basically telling other people that your husband is gay and you're going to put him on probation? And Drew suddenly is like, oh, it was Anthony that said that? And I'm like, girl, where are you right now? Are you in the scene? Are you here mentally today? Or are you someplace else? Because maybe Ralph still has her on tumble dry because I don't understand why she doesn't understand exactly what is being said. And I know she said she didn't hear it, but you heard enough to know that she said that the man, you heard gay, okay? We know that you heard that. So I don't understand why you didn't hear the rest of that, but whatever. So then Drew is basically like this. So if you guys are going to come at me, you know, about what I had heard from Anthony, are you also going to keep that same energy for Sheree for this whole situation about, you know, the assistant telling her that my husband is allegedly gay? And at that point, it's kind of like Kenya wants to just table the discussion for now. It was a valid point, but really it was going nowhere. They go sing Happy Birthday to Brooklyn. Marlo suggests that if she and Kenya can shade each other and still be cool, so can Sheree and Drew. But they don't see it that way because Drew was telling Candy and Candy told other people, and Candy's still mad about the D in the bathroom. But Sheree is mad at Candy and wants to have a ponderosa with her because she don't understand why we have history. You running around telling everybody else about this business that is allegedly being said about me, but you're not coming to me, and I'm your friend. This girl I don't know from Adam, okay? Candy then just wants to make sure that everybody has a good time in New York City. And then Drew says, oh yes, we're going to have a good time in New York City. And she's doing her hand in the face like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Drew, just like you told LaToya last year that you from Detroit or wherever you from and you don't play those types of games. We didn't have these conversations about housewives before. The moment you start putting your hands up like this and doing the hands like this, Tammy done told y'all. Tammy Roman told y'all. That is a warning signal, and that means that you are ready to fight. So if you're not ready to actually put that hand out and connect, I suggest you keep it down to your side. And the ladies warn her, listen, Sheree is not the one that you want to play with because we know that Sheree will tug on that wig and pull it right on off, okay? So we end there, and it looks like the season is about to start getting extra lit as the ladies head to New York City. Let me know what you guys think about this episode down in the chatterization down below. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say. And again, I apologize for my political incorrectness today, but I just, again, did not have the mental capacity to be y'all know, I try to keep it, I try to keep things PC around here, but today I just couldn't do it. And I felt like I had to give you guys the real, and that's just what it is, because I'm doing this review right after I watch the episode, and I'm going to upload it so that you guys can have it for tomorrow because I want to make sure that I honor my obligations, okay? So with that being said, y'all know I love y'all, and ladies from Atlanta, I love y'all too. If you watch the video, please don't be offended by it. I doubt any of you are watching it, but still, at the end of the day, if you happen to see a clip, just know that this is all in love, okay? Now, with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.